Japanese business wasn't there yet. And that changed the industry in a huge way. And Japanese business went from here to there because of that fact. New Japan couldn't kick out. I don't work for them anymore. I'll say that here. It's why New Japan's still on its fucking ass right now, because
having been through every different era, having had so many times where there was a bite at the apple and you did everything you could to make it work, and so many things did, man. You made chicken soup more times than anybody.
We're a very 50-50 act on American soil, though, 100%. Yep.
But what would you say, having gone through all that, has changed the most in the wrestling business?
The ever-changing pulse of the wrestling business is the change in the wrestling business. You know, like, we tooted our own horn a lot at the end of the 2010s and 12s and 13, and then I remember we were watching WrestleMania in 2014, and I'm the same age as WrestleMania, so we're watching it, and I started seeing the shirts and the crowd of the Bullet Club and going, oh, that's cool. But the one thing you can always bank on is we go, well, that changed the industry. Well, great. Yeah, it did. And then you know what came out of that? The spawn of AEW. And then you know what came out of that? The next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And then you know what came out of that was the real change in the wrestling business. Is, you know, Timmy, you and I, you're a Danny Davis guy all the way through, which I'm jealous of because I would have loved to have just sat and listened to him. But those guys in that era, that's Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey. It's live event based business. It's why New Japan's still on its fucking ass right now, because they couldn't come out of the pandemic. Because if you're not a media content company, which all these, the big ones are WWE, AEW, TNA, whatever that is with WWE, these are content based media companies. New Japan couldn't kick out. I don't work for them anymore. I'll say that here. And you know, there's reasons for that, but they were still a live event, circus based, in my opinion. It's you gotta pay to see the elephant and the girl walking on the tightrope, and when you take that away, it kills business. So smart on all these companies for being content creators and smart on learning the media part, but Japanese business wasn't there yet, and that changed the industry in a huge way. And Japanese business went from here to there because of that fact. And the rest of the companies carry on. And that's why you see like the live events are dead. There's never going to be another house show. But what I think it has created is you have this space where, like, a Maryland Championship Wrestling, like a HOG in New York, who I don't work for, or WWC in Puerto Rico, or Lariato Pro in Georgia, what we do, you know, corporate wrestling is corporate wrestling. This isn't to shit on it, because good for them for making all the money, but the blue collar American fan, my dad, your dad, couldn't afford to take us to see the WWF wrestlers anymore, because if it's 30 grand to sit in the front row and $1,200 to sit in the cheap seat, you know where they're going? It's $25 to get in down the road. And I'm going to see Matt Riddle and Baron Corbin and Timmy Baltimore and Joey Mercury, if he's not doing something weird, whoever the f***'s down there.
Yeah.
Got a chance to see those guys. You're going to see a hell of a show if it's put on right. And that's where that exists. But I do wonder, with that change, and this is a great question for you because great analyst of the business, I wonder, you can teach it in a building and in a room all fucking day. But if you get rid of these live events and you get rid of these house shows, and there's no more Des Moines, Iowa, and there's no more Lafayette, Louisiana, and there's no more Lake Charles in front of 1,000 people that the boys will bitch about because of the payoff. Where do you learn to be comfortable if you come from an NXT system or something where it's hard to perform live and be on and be ready? And more than that, not be afraid to make an ass out of yourself and go, oh, fuck it, we'll go on to the next one. It's a very difficult thing for performers.
Yeah. The learning is in the mistakes, and the you really find that those times where you shit the bed, you look back and you go, that's what prepared me. That's what made me good. And you brought up Danny Davis and those old timers. It's kind of sad because they're not making obviously any more of those guys, the Rip Rogers, the maniacs who laid the groundwork.
So, you know what the end of those guys are? This is a real sad thing. It's fucking us, and we don't fill their shoes, man. You know, I might be able to give you 2 Saturdays a month, maybe, but I can't give you 4 nights a week. And boy, do you need it.
Yeah.
I need it. I'm still not there, but
Right. Closer than most. And I think there's a small portion that know the right way, teach the right way, but it's all been so self-contained lately, right? It's almost like, I don't want to say homeschooling, but like raising a baby in a lab or something. You're not going to have the same social and awareness that you would if you've been out on the roads, like you said, had to,
and you have to be around people who you cannot like anybody. Al Snow and I have been on a roller coaster ride since the day I met him. But what I do know is this: he's performed in front of more live crowds than I have, and he understands how to control them, and he understands how to tell people whether he likes them or not. You know, we can't regurgitate that with people who have never done it. And we sound like old bastards saying it, and I don't think we are, but we're the last. I'm the last. We're in the group of the last touring professional wrestlers that ever lived. MVP and I were talking about that. Like there's no more house shows. There were barely any Japanese tours, and that's not that the guys are more athletic now, but the experience of having a crowd in your hand and learning what to do and learning how to control them and learning what to do if something really gets up and not losing your shit. I mean, I learned that from Joey too. I know I keep going back to Joey because he's a friend of mine and yours off screen that I haven't talked to in years, but the feather in Joey's cap, for all the negative stuff people have said, was he'd been doing it since he was 14, 15 years old, and he was comfortable and he understood and he knew it was okay for this to happen and this to happen. But if this happens, we need to negate from this and go this way. No way to learn that if you everything's rehearsed and everything's just sitting in a room. And those people look really pretty, and I'm really happy for them. I want to make a lot of money because I'm not a hater, but I wonder if it'll end up 3 years, 5 years, 10 years being a detriment to what we like about pro wrestling, and maybe it won't matter. So
maybe it won't. Maybe there'll be a more of a underground kind of fringe movement. Who knows? Hopefully there's a buck to be made for those that are worth a damn. Having that zest and that passion for professional wrestling still, even after getting a taste and not working out, or getting a taste, getting close, and then things not turning out how you thought they would. Do you have any forward thinking advice or any guidance for people who may be going through something similar, whether they're in the business or not?
whether you're in the business or not, the best advice I ever heard was from a great old timer. I've shared the advice a million times, and I promised I'd never pass on them. But looked me in the eye and said, "Don't take no for an answer, kid. No is not an answer. It's just another question. And if you think it's a no, maybe a no right here, but look over there." And that's what I've modeled my career, my life, everything off of. Because I mean, I lost everything in 2011, and I sit here today jobless, but one of the busiest men in wrestling. And I look around, and I'm so thankful for the children that I have. And this isn't a horn toot, but like we learned over the years to protect our money and to invest it, and paid off home and 2 successful businesses. And I'm still out there humping, being a pro wrestler. And you just can't let those detractors with you. I've had a million of them. You're too big, you're stupid, you're not entertaining, you played a retard on TV, whatever terrible thing they can say, they'll say it. But you know what? They're saying it for a reason, because they're sitting there in a chair wishing they could go out and swing. So no matter what your lot in life is, get back up and swing again. I swear to God, it'll work out. I've sat there and thought it was over a million times. It ain't ever over unless you let it be over. You can do it. And I'm living, breathing proof. I'm obviously not built on talent. I'm built on will, and I'm built on drive. And no one's going to outwork me. And if I want to get something, I'm coming for you. So watch your spot. That's it.
Hey, you jabronis. Hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to click subscribe to the YouTube channel and podcast. This has been Limpin' Ain't Easy. It's wrestling as real as it gets.